where the real estate experts will delve
do you
deep
want my
into their
Zoom link?
journey to success and learn how to go the extra mile to serve their clients' wants and needs. Let's dive in. Here's your host, John Money McKinley.
Morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk with Real Estate Pros. We've got a great show lined up for you today. Today, I have a very special guest I'm going to be bringing on board. She has been in the world of real estate for a very, very long time, and she's really put together a lot of great things that she does to help people get their homes sold in a timely manner. We all know we've been in a lot of changing times in the world of real estate, and a whole lot has been going on. But first, I want to thank everyone for y'all tuning in. We have this show, Real Talk with Real Estate Pros, on typically every Wednesday at 11:30. And as y'all can see, I've got a new studio. I've got my producer in the back there. He's handling everything, making sure everything runs properly. Got my new studio set up over here on the Woodlands Waterway. So very happy with that. But we've had a lot of changes and a lot of things moving forward, so we're going to be bringing a lot more great guest real estate professionals that are going to keep you all informed on what's happening in the world of real estate. With that said, please do me a favor, like, subscribe, share this show with people, because we're really trying to get the message out there to really let everybody know what's going on in the world of real estate in your own backyard. Because trust me, you turn on that television, those people on there are nothing but actors. I'm here as an expert on the mortgage side of things, and I'm always bringing in real estate experts. With that said, I'd like to bring on my guest, Diane Boyd with Compass Realty.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you very much for being on the show today. I greatly appreciate that. If you would, please do me a favor and kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself so they can know what makes you a real estate expert.
Well, I'll give you a little background on myself. So I am originally born and raised in Michigan. So I'm still a Michigander, but I have been in the Houston area since 1998. I came down here with the airlines, and then I met my husband and ended up getting married, starting a family, and decided could not keep flying. But I think my flight attendant, what it did for me was, well, one step before that, I went to college at the University of Pittsburgh and majored in psychology. So then I decided to go be the flight attendant. And I think what it really helped me with, Houston is such a transient area. We have people coming from all over the world moving here. And during my 4 years as a flight attendant, I really got to know a lot of different cultures. And America itself, depending on where you live in it, has a lot of different cultures as well. So I really had that understanding of just people. And obviously with my background in psychology, I loved it. So I then got into real estate when we purchased our second home. And this was 2008. And was licensed beginning of 2009 after my classes. And
right during one of the best times in real estate in the world, if people remember the
but I
great
won
mortgage
Rookie of the
meltdown.
Year. So anyway, when I got in, we had an agent that told us in the inspection report, it said, have your HVAC system serviced. Well, buyers don't know what all this terminology is. And so we asked them, what does that mean? Just have the yearly service done? And they said, yes. No, it does not mean that. It meant to have a professional, because a inspector can only inspect on the outside and doing a rough estimate for like cooling and heating and stuff. Well, if there's anything that comes up off, you have to have a HVAC person come in and they can further inspect it. So we didn't know this. We closed on the home. We had two small kids, a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. We're starting out. And luckily, my husband saw an HVAC person in the neighborhood and he goes, oh, I'm going to go ask him. Thank God we had found him. He's since retired, but we had him come over and he said, if you would have turned on your heat, this was in April, you would have blown up here and started a fire where our kids sleep.
Now, let me ask you this. So you bought that home And you had it inspected, correct?
Correct, fully inspected.
Okay, fully inspected. And you had a real estate, what you thought was a professional, helping you with the transaction. Is that correct?
Correct.
Who clearly, from what you're telling me, your home could have had a explosion or a fire in it, which could
Yes.
have killed you and your family.
Yes. Would have killed my kids first because they were upstairs.
Oh,
So we were out $4,000 right after closing. And that was a lot of money to a young family back then, and it still is. Everyone else quoted us 18,000. So thank God we found that gentleman. So I looked at my husband and I said, you know what? This isn't right. People need to have proper representation because, like in any industry, you have good, you have bad. It's just how industries work. So I set off and said, I'm going to get my license and completed everything. The day I got my license, I walked into my broker, who has since moved out of the area, but she was the best in the area. And I said, I want to work for you, and I'm going to be rookie of the year and one of your top agents. And they didn't have room, but she hired me on the spot. And then she was the best too for training me. Anybody can go get their license. That's the technical stuff. It's then I made sure I had proper training, and I made sure that I took extra certifications, such as the buyer's rep, my seller's representation, negotiation, staging, it goes on and on. And I have loved it because I feel like I'm truly helping people. And it is the transaction has so much stress and joy and stuff for sellers and buyers that also with my psychology background, I feel like I am able to really talk them through how the transaction's going. And they know that they have that proper representation that is working for them at all times.
well, I know you and I just give full disclosure. Yes, I can attest to Diane's expertise because I have worked with her, excuse me here for a second,
15 years.
trying to figure out how to speak still. But I've worked with Diane on many occasions, and I can attest. She's done a fantastic job on the buying side. She's also done a fantastic job on the selling side. And she's really been able to help people navigate through what normally is a very stressful time because we don't buy and sell real estate every day. At least the average person isn't involved in that. And it's very nice when you find someone who's been through the experience. And it's unfortunate you had to go through a bad experience on your second home purchasing, but it really kind of set the fire in you, something inside of you, and said, hey, wait a minute. I want to be someone who can go out there and help people and make it a pleasant transaction so they enjoy it. And we just worked on another transaction with a buyer, and they're going to be a seller here very quickly. And yep, and they came into a situation where the appraisal came in just a tad bit lower, which that can happen. The listing agent had the property obviously a little elevated on what the price should have been, but that's neither here nor there. You were able to work for your buyers. Yes. And work with the selling agent. And at the end of the day, hey, the price had to come down. Because there's a lot of times where poor buyers, they get under a contract, they're in contract to go buy a home, and the appraisal comes in $10,000 lower. And I'm just picking that as an example. Yes. And people think that they have to just pay that. That's where it's great if people can have a professional that says, no, let me go to work. Let me take a look at the appraisal. I got you a copy of the appraisal so you could thoroughly analyze it and have an intelligent conversation with the listing broker so they could take that information back to their seller. And it all worked out. We had a wonderful closing right after we had a nice little storm here in Houston.
Well, and normally I'm not in that position. This one was it was a very tricky neighborhood. Normally my buyers, they know the true comps before we go in. I do pride myself on being very on point with the comps. I have a program that basically does a appraisal. how an appraiser would come out. And I have spent time studying with appraisers on how they evaluate different things with the homes so that my buyers aren't going into a home that's way overvalued. And in the 2 years that we had the craziness of people just overpaying, I didn't have one single client, and I had about 25 to 30 clients each year that overpaid. They're all sitting with a lot of equity still. But with that transaction, it was 4,000 off, and it surprised both me and the listing agent, but it was a tricky neighborhood. And it was one of those that it could have kind of gone either way, but when you looked at the appraisal, you went, I understand. And of course, I work for the buyer and they work for the seller, and they're trying to get it split. And my point was, no, you can't ask my clients to overpay for a property.
Well,
And
that's a big reason. And like I tell people, real estate is a team sport.
correct.
It's not just you and one other person. There are many people involved during the transaction. And the bottom line is you have to have the right team in your corner, because when that came up, it can be a very stressful situation. But I remember when I was talking with you, I got you over because, you need a copy of that appraisal so you can do your job. You got that. I went over my thoughts with you on it. You analyzed it. And I remember you said, let me go to work. I'll get this taken care of. Let me handle it. You assured your clients. You didn't overpromise and underdeliver, but you were able to go do your job, so they were able to worry about getting moved, worry about getting everything in line. So when the closing day happened, everything was rolling along like it was supposed to, except for the storm that kind of blew in and knocked out most electricity in the Houston and surrounding areas.
Yeah, but they still were able to move in. And I think the biggest thing with that was, that both parties, seller and buyer, even though I represented the buyer, I know that the seller was not going to be happy about that either. And I think that's where your relationship as an agent with the other agents makes a big deal. I'm not in it to be like, I'm better than you and I can do this. No, to the other agent, let's work together. We're here to help our clients. We're going to advocate on behalf of our clients. But part of that is building that relationship with the other agent so that you two can talk through something and relay them to your clients and not be at war or anything like that. So I think there's a lot of different, when you are an agent on the buyer or the selling side, either one, you have a lot of moving parts and people in it. And just like you said, we have a lot of other vendors in it. That's another big thing. The vendors that I use, I am particular with, as you know, as you are one of them, as you are a mortgage person, I'm picky, but I want my clients to have the best. And I think you are definitely the best, one of the best out there with it. And that is important because they're coming to me as their agent, as an expert with all of it. So there's a lot that I help them with, negotiate through, but I just did a move. And I think me moving every so many years helps me go, oh my gosh, they go through a lot. You just remember, because we get, used to it. We do this for a living. But coming back going, I said to my husband, I'm done. I don't want to move again. He goes, you say that every time. We're going to move in like 7 years. I'm like, no, we won't.
He knows he'll be moving. He'll be like, about 5-6 more years from now. Well, let me ask you this, because these are some key things I want to get into, because like I was talking about in the beginning, there is a lot of changes going on in the world of real estate. And you are an expert when it helps people getting their homes sold. And I really want to dig into, let's talk about some of the things that are holding sellers back. Give us some of the reasons. I don't want to dig too deep into trying to turn this into a 5-hour show on getting into all the solutions, but let's talk about some of the reasons why people may be having trouble getting their home moved in a timely manner.
Again, I think it falls back to who they choose to hire. And I think the sellers have to be open. Those 2 years did a lot. We had a lot of people get into the business thinking, I can do this. This is easy. And it's not, because homes sold fast. But I never changed how I went towards the selling of homes. I believe a home has to be staged.
Okay, so wait, let me stop on the first one. So the first thing is you've got to have the right team members in your corner.
Correct.
That
You
is a fantastic thing. Okay, so that's
and an
one.
open mind as a seller to not take any of it personally. That's what I tell my sellers is that when you are living in a home, we all live in a home. We have a lot of stuff. We have whatever. When you're selling, now we're not living. So let's set everything up properly so I can help you to sell your home for the highest possible price in the least amount of days on market so you can move on.
Okay, which that leads us to another one, which I want to ask you about, because this seems to be a big challenge to people is price. And let's talk
Yes.
about price. You need someone who, one, has the experience, such as yourself, but also someone who can look down and analyze. Because let's be honest,
Mhm.
not all of us are homeowners here, but my folks that are listening to this that are homeowners know that sometimes we take a look at our home and we think, oh, this is worth X amount of dollars.
My husband
And
does.
yeah, and look, you have to have somebody who can logically look at it and analyze the numbers and go, okay, here's what it is, and be able to present that in a way where you're not insulting the homeowner.
Correct. And I feel like in my CMAs that I do for the homeowners, there is also a spot after, showing them the comps and everything that tells them here are some improvements or some, changes to get the home ready for market that we could do. It might be that you have painted your child's room a bright pink, and that's awesome that they love it. But you don't know if the person you're selling to is all boys. And people, believe it or not, a can of paint, they're like, I don't want to paint. Everybody has seen HGTV. There's been so much watching of that. They want the homes to look like a model online and when they walk in the door.
Okay.
So
So,
as a seller, if you don't want to paint it, hire someone, spend $150, paint the room, and now you've just increased your margin. And I show that on my CMAs. If you do these things, here's what it nets you.
so another thing here, that this will be three, is you need someone with an eye to go into your home, take a look at it, and get it presented. That's the key, is get it presented in a
Yep.
way and make sure that person that you've selected, hopefully it's you, Diane, or an agent that knows what they're doing, who can come in, analyze, work with you on what do we have to do to get this home ready to move, to make it marketable to the the most amount of people out there. And I'm trying to
And
figure out
get
how to
you
put
the
English words
highest,
together.
yeah, and get you that highest possible price because it makes little things make a difference. Painting baseboards. I remember one time I went to an old neighbor's house back when I was in the Woodlands itself, at that house that I told you about. And they had an agent because they were relocation, and I've done relocation as well, but their company had them go with a different agency. And that person didn't sell it. And they said, we want to pick our agent. They picked me. I came in and said, paint your baseboards. People are walking in, and if you don't have your baseboards painted, they're thinking, what else haven't you done behind the walls? Do you know we sold that house like that within a weekend? And they had been on the market for months. And this was back like 2011 or something. But little things like that can make such a difference in a home. And you would be like, what? No, baseboards. People are looking at things that you might not even think about. But as an expert, and having been in the business for so long and having my staging credentials and all of that stuff as well, I'm able to walk in and help you because everybody's baseboards get nicked up, especially if you have kids. Paint comes off. It's not that you're bad. And that's what I tell people. This is normal.
Well, and another thing too is a lot of times we've seen is that's the actual on-site presentation, but another thing too is and this is something that's near and dear to my heart because this is something that I've dove into much deeper in 2024, because let's be honest, the whole pandemic or whatever people want to call it that happened has changed the way we've done business. But this is the world of real estate. Let's be honest. It's people face to face, like you and I are right here. Hey, we're literally right here working together. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the stuff that happened over the past 4 years with the elevation in real estate values and all of the new people that got into this business that, let's be honest, never really should have been in the business. Yeah, they're all leaving or have left,
They need to. They
which is
mucked a lot up.
which is good, but they were just putting signs in the yard and we lost that human connection.
And they weren't presenting it. I know where you're getting at properly online. That's
Yep.
been a huge thing of mine. The way my home looks online is the way it looks in person. And I hire the best of best professionals. We do photos. We have the max photos. We have videos. We have our own website for it. We have, I mean, the list goes on of what I put online for it. I also have the details and the features of the home. You cannot, and I write under the pictures. You cannot just I cannot stand, or two things I can't stand. One, when agents put up horrible pictures. How are you calling yourself a professional? How are you doing your clients a service? You're not. To me, that's you're not putting your clients first and doing the right thing. Then second, sorry, that one really upsets me. Then second, you have where you need the home. And I forgot what I was going to say with the second one. So basically we put all of that up. They have the great pictures. Then it's in order. That was it. I cannot stand when I look at pictures and you go, here, I'm upstairs, I'm downstairs, I'm outside, I'm inside. You're telling a story. You're a storyteller in this. Show the home as you walk through. We might throw, if it has an awesome backyard, is like the second picture, first picture, but that's just the first couple. Then we walk you through the home. And again, everything needs to be, you have literally 5 seconds to catch that buyer's attention. If they start going through the first, I think it's 4 pictures max is what they said, and they don't like it, it was 4 to 5. They're gone. They're not coming back to your home. So putting up a listing with not your professional pictures in and not all of the information in, you've totally done your clients a disservice. My listings do not go up until everything is done. And when I hit that live button, everything is in there because that is your best chance to hit the market and hit the mass people.
And I'm glad you bring that up because that leads into another thing that I know, and you know this, really affects people's ability to be able to get the home moved in a timely manner for a good price is I want to get the guy to do it for a nickel. And they're looking for those discount brokers, those fly by night companies. And just like we've been talking about, you need a professional who's going to take the time and invest the time because a lot of people don't know this or understand this. A real estate agent doesn't get paid for the hours they put in. They don't get paid for the work they put in. They don't get paid for the money they spend on marketing your property. The only time they put money in their pocket for all of the work that they've done is when the transaction closes.
You don't even get that money.
Oh, exactly. And that's something that is huge. I see these discount brokers out there all the time. And then you go online and you see the pictures they do. You see the work they do. You're lucky if they take a picture of the front door and the dog who's tearing up something in the house in the living room.
But that's the whole thing of you get what you pay for. And I have had clients tell me that. I'm like, okay, then are you willing to forego these things? Because you have to realize that, like in any profession, I have everything budgeted out for your listing and how to present it and what the cost are. I mean, pictures can be $2,500. They don't know that. They don't know that when you're hiring the best, and they can go beyond that. But it just depends on the price point of the house, of how much you're spending. A real estate agent has to pay for then the website, then the other tours with it, then your marketing material, all of your printing, all of everything. Then a good agent would run the ads on Google and Facebook and with the algorithms, however they work. But because we have a program that does all of that for us. And so there's more money out the door. And I go over that with people. If they want a discount broker, they're free to go to that. They're going to hurt their bottom line, but that's their decision. And if they choose to work with me, I mean, I can show them why. And I have before and afters of, because we stage all of our listings. And for the most part, I mean, I have my own staging furniture and decor and all of that, but it makes that much of a difference. They love that HGTV look when they come in. But I am getting my clients. I did one during the pandemic, would not sell a 1.5 home. They fired the agent, called me. They had interviewed every top hitter in the area. And it was actually my stager who ended up meeting him through a friend and said, yeah, you need to call Diane. And they were like, oh, I think I will. And she explained our staging process. So they had apparently had their home staged, but all that stager did for that agent was pull everything out. It looked like a frat house, is what I told them. I go, you just have, leather couches sitting in there.
Well, let's do this, Diane. Zach is already my producer in the back. He's already hit me up. He's going, we're already at the top of the hour. What I want to do is I want to give people a way that they can really get a hold of you. And I just pulled up the wrong thing first. I wanted to show something else first of yours.
Sorry.
This is your webpage. And this is a place that I would love people to be able to go to, and so they can get in contact with you, as well as I want to show them, this is something else I want to share with them. You have really been putting together a lot of good information. Here's just one of the things, and I'm going to encourage you all. Reach out to Diane. She has a lot of great reports that she can get over to you. If you're a seller and you want to know and dig deep into, okay, these are the reasons why your home may not be selling. Here's what here's what Diane can do to help you with this. She can get reports over to you. This is a report that she has put together, 50 things a buyer's agent does to ensure a successful transaction.
But hold on 1 second before we do that. With that house, I just want to say, I ended up selling it after we staged and made it look more lived in within a weekend. And they had been on the market for months in the prime selling thing. And we sold it for asking.
Nice.
And normally my homes will sell for 10 to 15% higher once they're listed with staging.
Nice. Well, I want to show this. This is Diane's direct contact information. I want to encourage you. If you need an expert to help you buy or sell real estate, I'm going to recommend you reach out to Diane. Here's her direct number, 281-513-4263. Here's her email, diane.boyd@compass.com. If you want to get a copy of one of her reports, whether you're a home buyer or a home seller or even both, shoot her an email, send her a text. Ask her for a copy of these reports.
And I will not hound you with tons of emails and all of that stuff like others do. I send you what you need. That's it.
But with that said, I want to thank you very much for being on the show today, Diane. I'm going to say goodbye to my audience here and thank you all for watching and listening. And please, I want to encourage you all. We're here every Wednesday at 11:30. We do this live, bring on experts. If you know somebody who's an expert that you think would be a great guest on the show, please let me know. I would love to have a conversation with them. This is my direct text number. Please feel free to reach out to me. Y'all have a great day. See you soon.